Hello, 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 everyone. It's Social Media Weekend Extended Learning, and we're going to be talking all about analytics. Please hit share right now to your friends who you know have Social Media Weekend tickets, not to everybody else, so that they can find us and they can connect with us right now. You know, anyone who should be watching, let them know. We're going to meet Maha, Senior Digital Marketing Manager at Amazon Pay and Professor of Digital Marketing at NYU. We're just going to give this a couple of minutes to just let people find us and tell us where you're watching from. Tell us how you are. Tell us how you've been. So much going on in the world. So much has happened. It's been 12 weeks, which is hard to believe since Social Media Weekend. Please hit share. Hi, folks. We're going to get started in just a minute. Please share with your friends. Please tell us where you're watching from. I'm looking at the comments. Jonathan Bernstein watching from Union Square. It's amazing. He's always first. Julia Weeks is watching from Memphis. Got a haircut today. Well, I'm going to reveal my haircut in just a minute. Julia, your haircut's got nothing on me. Tell us where you're watching from, folks. I see you all here. Just say hello. Tell us where you're watching from. We're going to get started in just a minute. Damakant's watching from Atlanta. I know Maha is watching, so she can see where people are. So just say hello. Just come in and say hello, please. And Julia says, LOL. Maybe we should have had a game like, what did you eat? What was the most unusual thing you ate during the holidays? Oh, the holidays, not holidays. What am I talking about? It's not holidays. Folks, tell us where you're watching from. Tell us what you're up to. Linda Bernstein's also here. Linda is going to join me on camera in just a couple of minutes. We're just making sure everybody has time to find us. Sujana Chandrasekhar is watching from her office in Wayne, New Jersey. Yay. And we have news to announce about Sujana and one of the exciting projects that we're doing over at my company, DigiMentors. We'll give it another minute. Everybody, just tell us where you're watching from. If you know someone who has Social Media Weekend tickets, send them the URL to this particular Facebook post, please. Just giving everyone a moment to find it. This is one of the adventures. One of the hard parts about Facebook is things like this. But we're just so glad to have people coming back, watching us live or on the recording later. And yes, the analytics session will be available later, so everybody can watch it. And all right, while we're waiting, I just want to let you know that Linda Bernstein and I have been working very hard on this project, which is our Fundamentals of Social Media course. It's a free certification course that's coming next week, next Wednesday, mrac.co/social. You can sign up now. If you haven't, please sign up, mrac.co/social, free certification, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And she and I work very, very hard on this. I'm very grateful to our friends at Muckrack for allowing us the resources to do this and offer it free. 3,500 people around the world have signed up and are already ready to go with this. Okay, we'll give it another minute. Tell us where you're watching from. And Damakant says, hello, Maha, thank you for your time. And Laura says, happy Friday from sunny Philadelphia. What a week, what a month, what a year it has been already. And I think we're ready to get started. So let me just come on screen. If you haven't seen me in a while, folks, it's scary what I've done to my hair, as somebody said. But I am now ready to reveal my hair cut to all of you. It's more like a hair massacre, but here it is. Hello. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for being here. It's been 3 months since we last met all together, because I know the exact count from Social Media Weekend, because we've had 12 Social Media Weekend group office hours. And I have learned so much during them. And I know many of you have been able to join us either live or later to catch them. And they're very useful, not because of me, but because, as always, because of our community. And I want to remind you that we have a CODA document. We learned about CODA with Jeremy Kaplan, and we have a CODA document that you can look at that has all the office hours notes in there in one place. This is what CODA looks like. And you remember that Jeremy had shown us this. And you can go in and look at this. Session 1, Session 2, Session 3. And when you click, you'll get the notes and what we discussed at each one. Session 2, you can see Session 3, like that. One of the things that I learned is the importance of design. And you can see I used to have these very complicated designs, and my designs have become better, I've been told by everybody. So Session 4, etc. So design best practices. You can see these used to be my designs, and now these are my designs. That's one we did with Manisha Koirala, a big Bollywood star. So again, please go in and look at our CODA document. It's all linked in the work that we have been doing, and it's in the Facebook post. You can see the link for the CODA document is there. So I hope you will all take a minute to find it later on if you haven't done that already. And I want to thank everyone who made Social Media Weekend possible, and for all of you, for this community we have built. We're very, very grateful to all of you. I'm going to bring in now Linda Bernstein, executive producer of Social Media Weekend, to say hello to all of you, and I'll ask her how she's been doing these long, long months. Hello.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Sri. I mean, who knew the Social Media Weekend was going to last for 3 months? So we've all been learning and adjusting, and it's really nice to have this core group of people who came together at the end of March for our amazing way that we just took what was supposed to be an in-person conference and turned it into an online conference. It was different from anything we'd ever done before, but it was really cool, and it involved these extended learning opportunities that would take us forward into the spring, and now it's summer. So it's nice to keep on coming together, and I'm very excited about today's session.
Yeah,
it's something I really can use. Yeah.
Yeah, we've had a sneak peek at the slides, so I'm super excited about them. People are joining and commenting. Laura says she likes the new do, very chic, very empty. Julia says nice haircut. Christine says hello, everyone. Hello, and introduce yourselves right in there. Say what you've been up to. I said to everybody, work on something, and so many of you, I've been working on various things. I know Linda had a big project with me that she worked on, among other things. Linda, let's remind everyone that we're launching next week on Wednesday, this project. You want to talk about it for a second?
Yeah, this is quite amazing. Sri is paired up with Muckrack, and they have this idea for doing a certification course in social media, and they're making it free. And Sri and I worked on curriculum, and Sri filmed it. And the amazing thing is that it's free. I mean, to me, that's absolutely incredible, because Sri and I have talked about, doing some kind of certification course for years and years and years, and it never seemed possible. And suddenly Muckrack makes it happen and makes it free. So this is just something that'll be perfect for people to have on their LinkedIn, and it will be also sort of a good refresher course on the fundamentals of we're doing 4 platforms, and those of you who know 3 can guess which 4, and Twitter, and Twitter. So no, that's a joke. So yeah, so I really think that it's like just too good an opportunity to not take advantage, because it also, you don't have to take it on Wednesday. You can take it 3 Wednesdays afterwards or whatever. You can keep on doing it, and you can, even after you get the certification, print it out and frame it. So and hang it on your desk as a reminder of what happens, during a pandemic.
And we learned so much doing this, right? Just going through the process of putting together a course, doing it online like that. 3,500 people signing up. We're so grateful to everyone. I know many of you have signed up as well. Even if you know a lot of this, no harm just going through it. One, you'll probably do it really fast if you know all this stuff, and you'll benefit. One of the things we're very excited about is we work with Muckrack to create the first comprehensive list of the major social networks that they have committed to updating on a regular basis. So I'm going to reveal to you now the Buzzin' Dozen, the Muckrack Buzzin' Dozen. These are the top social networks. And if you can see the screen, you can see Facebook, YouTube, WhatsApp, WeChat, Instagram, TikTok, Messenger. A lot of these, you've never seen them all together like this, and you haven't seen them updated like this. And the fascinating thing about this is, look where Twitter is. Look at the thing that I'm obsessed with. Look how low on the totem pole it is. But that's one of the things we discussed. Why is Twitter so low, but why does it make so much noise? Anyway, I hope you'll take a picture of this and screenshot it and share it. We call it the Buzzin' Dozen. That's the hashtag Buzzin' Dozen. And no apostrophe, of course, hashtag Buzzin' Dozen. And the course's hashtag is MRA Social, MRA Social. So please share this if you haven't already. This is worth the price of admissions, folks. So hope you will grab that and take a look. All right, I think we are ready to have Maha join us. We are so grateful to her for spending time with us, and we're going to just bring her on screen in just a minute. And I just want to see what the comments are, and so that we can get started. Shariar says, great to be here, staying at home in Old Tappan, New Jersey. What is this with so many New Jerseyites here with us? Let's see. Tim says, and TikTok was on the item. There it is. It's the fastest to 1 billion, and we're very happy to have TikTok there in this chart. There are other charts, but nothing that's been updated like this. Linda worked very hard to find something that we could use, and she rightly pointed out that there isn't anything, so she was able to share that. And of course, don't forget to use the hashtag SMWeekend for today's learnings, and also to follow Maha. I'm going to give you her a Twitter handle in just a second again, so you can see it. So thank you all for being here. And Laura says, Twitter is now so full of awful trolls and vitriol that it feels less useful than it once was. That's so interesting, because how thoughtful Laura is about these matters. And if you haven't checked out her portraitsofparkland.com initiative, which she has now morphed into doing things around racism. 2 years ago at Social Media Weekend, she was there when we brought up 2 of the student activists from the Parkland shootings. And so she's taken the Parkland work that she did and made it into social justice. Portraits-of-parkland.com. Everybody, please to take a look. Very, very proud of the work that Laura has done. And if she's finding it full of trolls, that's one of the problems with Twitter, as we know. So I think we're ready to get started. Let me remind you what we're about to do. We're going to meet Maha Shankaran, and Maha is someone who was going to present at Social Media Weekend, but because we had to scramble and we had to rush through short presentations and all of that, we unfortunately lost her session, but she graciously agreed to come back later. It just happened to be 3 months later, but here we are, and it's still so relevant to everything she's going to be doing. Let me tell you a little bit about her. She's a senior digital marketing manager at Amazon Pay, and she's a professor of digital marketing at NYU. Her Twitter handle is Mahalakshmi_81. And you should know she's not here to answer Amazon questions. She's here to talk about social media analytics. That's what she wants to focus on. But we are just very grateful to have her here with us. So without further ado, let me bring on to you right here so you can say hi. Maha. Hello.
Hi. Hi, Shri. How are you?
How are you? I'm good.
Very
How are
good.
you? Where are
Very
you?
good. I am also from New Jersey. I see a lot of people from New Jersey today. I am from Highland Park, New Jersey.
There's too many New Jersey people. Here's a photo of the two of us. I thought we took this in January, but we took this in September. And
Last
that tells you how long it's been, even without the pandemic, that we haven't met. But at it, we talked about the kind of work you do and why it would be awesome for you to do a workshop with us. And here we are, almost a year later, but we're here. How have you been through all of this? Have you been running around, or what have you been doing?
I've been good, but I have not been I've been quarantining a lot. So I think I haven't stepped out other than to pick up my Whole Foods delivery in the last 4 months. So that's the only thing which I've ventured out for. I've been completely at home starting March, but I've been doing my NYU classes virtually. So this is my first time teaching online. So that's been a very interesting experience. But interestingly, I also moved houses during the pandemic, so that was a adventure by itself. But finally, all good. And thank you, Shri, and thank you, Linda, so much for having me. I'm really grateful to meet your community. You guys are doing something amazing. I see the consistency with which you've built this community. So it's really amazing, and I'm very, very happy to be very, very small, tiny part of it. So
Not
thanks for
anymore. You're not.
thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you. Not tiny anymore. You're now a major part of it, and we hope we'll be able to do lots of things together. And we're just grateful to Maha for being with us and giving us the time. You know, one sign of how things are different, Maha, we would never have scheduled anything on a Friday in June.
I swear.
Unless it was a conference. People do conferences where we all travel and we're all together for 3 days. That's one thing. But to launch something on Friday night, especially when we're all tired of Zoom calls, right? That's like one of the other things. And we promise that this is not a Zoom call. I see Rose Horowitz is here. Rose is one of our two producers, Rose Horowitz and Vandana Menon, who've been with me for 93 days of incredible shows that we've done. And we're just so grateful to them for all that they did to get the shows going. Tonight, by the way, at 9 p.m., we have a fabulous show that I want to tell everybody about. And Alyssa Richardson is going to be here. She is the author of Bearing Witness While Black. And she's going to, the book is the brand new book, African American Smartphones and the New Protest. So that's coming up on today at 9 p.m. on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Srinet. Everyone, please subscribe. We'd love for you to join us. So again, I want to thank our friend Rose and Vandana for making that possible by just being there and helping us put together these shows. So today we're going to talk all about social media analytics. And so talk to us a little bit about your work at NYU. What's it been like? And how did you get to be an expert on social media analytics?
Sure. I actually, I came to the United States about 7-8 years back. I think it's just been 8 years. When I came here, I said I had worked a lot in television and in print and all of that. But when I came here, I said, you know what? I want to dive deep into digital marketing and really understand the numbers behind it more than probably just social media management. I want to get into the analytics of why something happens, what do you do to get your followers? What do you do to get more people to look at your posts and all of that? So I actually is an alumni from NYU. So I did my master's at NYU in digital marketing and analytics. And then I started working in B2B digital marketing. So at Amazon as well, I work for something called Amazon Pay, which is the B2B side of Amazon, the payment side of Amazon. And the NYU thing started, I think, about 4 years back. I did a guest lecture lecture in one of my professors' class on social media analytics, interestingly. And she actually, after the class, came to me and said, you seem to have a flair for teaching, so why don't you meet with the department and the dean? I can set you up and see whether you can start teaching part-time. I was actually slightly intimidated by the offer. But I was very excited as well. So that's how NYU happened. And now I've been teaching at NYU for about 4 years. So I think 8 or 10 semesters out now. But it's been very interesting, and I'm very thankful for all the opportunities with the teaching, frankly.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I think we're ready to start. So we're going to go about 25, 30 minutes. You're going to have your slides, Maha, and you're going to share. And I want everyone to follow you on Twitter, Mahalakshmi_81. The spelling is all correct. I hope you'll double check that.
Yep.
And SM Weekend is the hashtag. So everyone, please share that. And we're just grateful to everyone who was with us right there from the beginning of Social Media Weekend and supported us as we went online. So over to Maha. She's sharing her screen, and we will be pulling up. There's her how to use analytics to boost your social media. I know everybody's interested in that. So they're all here. I'm going to step out, Maha. You're running your slides, and we'll be here in the background. Anything you need, just holler, and we'll be right here. Thank you very much, Maha.
Pleasure is all mine. Thank you. So I think all of us really want to get started with social media. Either it's personally to build up a personal brand for yourself, or probably to have it for your small business and get started with your promoting your small business on social media. Or even it could be, you're working for a company and you are trying to figure out the social media marketing side of it. So analytics kind of fits into all the three phases of it. Whether you're trying to boost your social media presence for your own personal brand, or you're trying to do it for your small business, or you're trying to do it for probably the enterprise or company which you work for. So already I'm going to skip this one because I think Shri talked a lot about it. So this is just a quick background about me. I'm basically from India, so I jokingly say that I traveled from Madras, which is a city in India, to Manhattan for my second part of the life here. And I've been continuously doing digital marketing. So these are some of the brands I've worked with. Currently, I work with Amazon, of course. So before I want to get into analytics, I want to kind of, every time we have our internal meetings about marketing, analytics, and dashboards and all of it, one of the things that comes up is, we need to get our KPIs right. We need to get our metrics right and all of it. But most of the times, let me tell you, even in the biggest of the biggest companies, this is how the marketing dashboard looks like. Most of the time, people are just talking about some vanity metrics that totally does not make sense. And people don't get it right. They all want to do a good social media, but somehow they get caught up in it and they're not really figuring out the numbers behind it, which is a huge minus point, actually. So I'm hoping that in the next 30 minutes, I can give you some tips to make sure that how you can approach social analytics in a better way. So I know that, everybody who's going to talk about anything to do with social media or marketing or, anything, they're going to say that you'll have to start with goals. You need to have SMART goals. But how much ever cliche it sounds, that is actually the reality. Before you start your social media, like I said, whether it's for your personal brand, whether it's for your nonprofit, whether it's for your small business, which you're doing, the first thing you want to think about is, what are going to be my social media goals, right? And I'm going to talk about this in detail in the next few minutes, specifically on the goals itself. And the second step you want to think about is, who is going to be my target audience? Who is that I want really to, attract through this social media efforts which I'm doing? So you want to spend a lot of time trying to define your target audience. So let's say you're a nonprofit. You want to figure out what kind of a nonprofit you are. What are the audiences you are trying to reach out to? What's their demographic looks like? What's their psychographic look like? What kind of things they are interested in? Are they interested in sustainability? Are they interested in Black Lives Matter? Are they interested in girl education in India? So it could be anything, but you really want to define your target audience very clearly. That's going to be your second step. And why that's very important is because only when you define your target audience, you can identify which network will work for you. So Shri was just talking about how Twitter is at the bottom of the graph and it's not making sense. But for his audience, which is most of them are thought leaders. If you look at Shri's audience in Twitter, most of them are thought leaders. And for thought leaders to speak to thought leaders, to engage with thought leaders, to have conversation with thought leaders, Twitter is the best place, right? So he is doing extremely well in terms of reaching his target audience. So I wouldn't think of it as, Facebook is the number one channel, but I am in Twitter, or Instagram is the number one channel, but I am in probably Facebook. You really want to get into a network based on where your audience is. So identifying your network and figuring out your audience go hand in hand completely. After you identify your network, the next step you obviously want to do is start creating engaging content. And if you've really done a good study about your target audience, then you know what ticks with them, right? You really know what kind of content will work with them, whether it's going to be pictures, whether it's going to be videos, whether it's going to be articles. And what kind of articles or what kind of topics will work with them. So the audience analysis, which you do as the second step, is so important because that's also going to feed into your content process, how you are designing your content and all of that. And the other thing which most of us are guilty of is we are very quick to set up a social media profile. We are very quick to start posting content in it. We are already doing all of that. But what gets in the way is we start ignoring our community. One of the biggest rules of social media is you cannot ignore your audience. If somebody follows you, immediately reach out to them and say, hey, thanks for following me on Twitter. I'm going to probably, I'm looking forward to learn and share in Twitter with you. If somebody is following your small business page on Facebook, try to reach out to them and say thank you. Or, if somebody is commenting on something, immediately answer them. So those are, I think, sounds like, hey, it's so basic, but you would be so surprised how many really big brands who are spending millions and millions of dollars in marketing do not do these things properly. And that's what makes the difference between a good brand who is doing a good social media and a brand which is doing probably a bad social media, actually. Then what you want to do is track, measure, and optimize. So that's what we are going to spend a lot of time today. How do you track? What do you track? How do you measure? What's important to measure? And how can you consistently optimize your social media following? So I just said that I'm going to talk a lot about social media goals, right? So the biggest problem with social media goals, again, I will keep saying that, the biggest of the companies don't do it right, because I've actually seen it in my previous life when I used to work in agencies. I have seen really big brands struggling to create social media goals because somebody is taking care of the social media and they are not thinking about the complete business end to end, right? So they are just making goals in vacuum. So the goal could be, I want to get 50,000 followers. The immediate next question is, why not 51,000 followers? Why does it have to be 50,000 followers? Like, what's the magic number behind 50,000 followers, right? So you always want to think about how the goal is going to help you in your business as well, right? So if it is a personal brand, if you're starting it up for yourself, you want to think about why do I want to grow my audience, or why do I want to create a community, or why do I want to create a ardent following for myself in Twitter or Facebook or Instagram? Why do you want to do it? So there is going to be an answer for it, right? Probably it is to showcase your work. Probably it is to get the community together so that then you can propel them into something else. Or probably it's a small business and you're trying to sell something. So you want to make sure that your goals, which you're making for social media, completely align with what you're trying to do in terms of your business as well. So I look at it as a pyramid, and I kind of say that you want to start at the bottom, right? So if you're a small business, your goal could be probably increase brand awareness, right? So you want to be known, you want to more people to know about your brand. So that's should be your starting point. And how does that translate into social media goal is, how will they know more about you? If you have more audience, that's when they will know more about you. So you will have to think about your business goal and then start setting up your social media goal there. So it starts with growing your audience. Once you have a decent, like I said again, that decent number will vary from one person to another person. So for a brand which is probably as big as, let's say, Nordstrom or a Macy's, it could be that, I want to grow my follower count by 10% month over month. But for a small business, it will be very different. And for a personal brand, if I am just going to go ahead and start it up for myself, that will be very different. So grow your audience. Then the second one you want to start thinking about is increasing your community engagement. At the end of the day, social media is all about community management. You are getting the followers because you want to create a community there. You want them to start engaging. So either it's about they sharing ideas with you, or you sharing ideas and they reacting to your ideas. How do they react? They like it, they comment on it, then they also share that, so that you are getting more followers from that, right? So you want to start thinking about, once you get a decent amount of audience, the second step you want to do is start thinking about community engagement. The third thing you want to start thinking about is, okay, you have a great community, you have a decent or a big enough audience right now. The third step you want to start thinking about is probably, how do I make them to take an action which I want them to take? So for example, in the case of, I'm just taking Linda's example. Linda and Shri have created this amazing course with Muckrack, right? So if I were Linda, I would be thinking about, how can I get people to come to the event page and start registering, or start, registering for the certification or taking up the certification. So that's like getting people to your website to do something, or coming to your event page and registering for an event. If you're doing a fundraiser, how do you get people to come to that website to actually look at your fundraiser? So those kind of stuff. The final one I'm saying is generate sales, but it could be any action you want them to take. Like I said, if it's a fundraiser, the action you want them to take is probably donate for it. If it is an event, you want them to register for it. So you want to start from the bottom and start building your goals. And at each stage, you want to keep thinking about, is this what I want to do for my business? Is this what I want to really do? Will this goal really help me achieve something in my business? Is you want to keep constantly thinking about. I'm going to actually take a minute break here and probably ask, are you guys, can somebody give me a thumbs up? Like, I'm not going too fast, I'm not going too slow. Is it good, the speed?
You're going great. We will. Why don't we pause here and just see if anybody has a specific question they want to ask?
Absolutely.
We know people are taking notes, and here is Rose saying, identify the network that's based on where your audience is. Yes, Tamakant gives you a good. So if you need a little break or you need any water, you can grab that.
I'm good. I just wanted to make sure that I'm not too.
I know isn't this weird?
Fast.
Like, if you're used to teaching in a class, you can look at the students, you can see what's happening. This is all like in the ether, and it's much harder. So everyone, please continue to post comments, and please continue to tweet as well. Her Twitter handle is Mahalakshmi _81 and SM Weekend SMW Candy. You can, of course, take screenshots and share anything out of this. Thank you.
So once you set up your goal, I think the next thing you want to start thinking about, what should I measure, right? So because there are so many metrics and there are so many confusions. Anytime you ask somebody about social analytics, they will say, "Oh, I'm measuring impressions." Somebody else will say, "I'm measuring likes." The third person will probably say, "You know what? I don't care so much about likes. I'm measuring share of voice." So there are various things you could measure again. So and it's very hard, and it's very easy to get overwhelmed about so many metrics and KPIs being there. Again, it's very easy if you bucket them into various things, right? So I would first start with awareness metrics, because if this is your first initiative on social media where you are trying to grow your audience, you should be thinking first about awareness metrics. Should be your first step, right? So you want to know, when I post something, how many, what's the reach of that post? Like, how many people are actually, how many people is it reaching, right? So that's what you want to think about. You also want to think about, how many impressions I'm getting. So it's interesting, because one of the questions I get in my class when I teach this topic is, what's the difference between impressions and reach, right? Both of it sound pretty similar. Like, what are you talking about, kind of? Impressions basically means that it is in somebody's timeline, right? So you are putting out a post, it's there in somebody's timeline. So that's what impression is all about. So it could be that, if you have 2,000 followers, probably you will get 2,000 impressions if it's there in everybody's timelines. But reach is slightly different, and it is mostly all the channels kind of give this as a estimated metric. So what reach means is, if I like a post on Facebook, then there is a chance that my network will see that I liked a post. So there is this ripple effect which happens. So reach not only includes the people whose your specific, impressions only includes your specific audience. Reach also includes the audience who can come as a ripple effect because of your audience, right? So that's what it means. Then you want to constantly think about follower growth. Like, last month it was 100 followers. This month I'm having 200 followers. Like, what's the growth percentage look like? How many people are following me more? So you want to constantly keep looking at that in the beginning. That's your first step, right? In the second step, you want to start looking at engagement metrics, right? And I like to call this, I actually picked this up from one of my favorite analytics gurus called Avinash Kaushik. You guys should check him out. His name is Avinash, Avinash. He is a digital marketing evangelist at Google. He is like the person for analytics probably in the country and in the world. Like, so he kind of put this three terms, right? Applause rate, engagement rate, and amplification rate. So those are the three engagement metrics you want to think about. So applause rate is when somebody is liking your post, they are applauding it, right? So what's my applause rate look like? The second thing you want to think about is your engagement rate. Are they commenting? Are they engaging more? So that's the second one. The third one is a very, very difficult one to get, right? Which is the amplification rate, which is somebody sharing your post, whether it's your tweet, whether it's your Facebook post, whether it's an Instagram post, somebody else sharing that, right? So applause rate, engagement rate, amplification rate. So once you have a good amount of audience, the second step you want to start thinking about is my community engaging? And these are the metrics you would be thinking during that phase, right? Like I said, the third one you want to start thinking about is, it's great to have a community, right? It's great to have 10,000 followers. But if none of the followers are really taking any action, which you really want them to take, what's the point of having those 10,000 followers? That's what happens many a times on Instagram, right? So we do a lot of influencer marketing. So when we are vetting influencers, that's one of the biggest thing which we are looking for, right? They might say claim that I have 1 million followers, but if you go in and actually do a vetting of their profile, you will find that probably 50,000 of them or 70,000 of them or 100,000 of them are actually bots, right? So in that case, building just an audience doesn't help you. So even the bots do engage as well on Twitter, as you've seen. So are they taking the action you want them to take? Are they actually going to the website and probably donating for the cost you want them to donate? Are they going to the website and buying the product which you have? Are they going to the website and registering for the next event you have coming up, right? So that's the third thing which you want to start looking at. And this is where the social analytics kind of merges into website analytics, right? You want to start thinking about, is social media really a good time and effort for me? Is it contributing something to my bottom line? So that bottom line could be different based on your business, right? If you're working on your personal brand, it could be different. It could be like you have a blog post and a blog page and you want more people to come and read your blog page, right? So that could be the personal branding effort. If it's a small business, you want them to come and actually buy the product. So at each stage, you want to start thinking about the conversion metrics. And the last one is, I would say, probably after you build up your brand, specifically if it's a small business, after you have spent time on all the other three things, that's when I would get here, right? So start thinking about share of voice. So share of voice is when you want to start measuring. Let's say you are a florist and you have a florist business in New Jersey in Highland Park. If somebody you want to go in Twitter and probably type florist and New Jersey and see whether your brand is coming up, whether how many people are actually talking about you. Are you getting a share of voice compared to your competitors, right? So that's what you want to start thinking about once you've really built your brand to a decent. So there is awareness. You have done all the first three steps. Then you want to start thinking about share of voice, right? And another thing you want to be very conscious about after you've built your brand is the sentiment analysis part of it. So sentiment analysis is something where you want to know what are people talking about you really, especially if you are an enterprise brand. The brands spend a lot of money trying to do sentiment analysis. So I was just telling Shri before you joined that I did not get my internet connection installed for 30 days because Verizon was not doing in-home installations, right? So at that time, I was constantly tweeting at Verizon. Like if you go and check my Twitter profile, probably the last 10 tweets are only to Verizon about, can you guys get your act together? When are you going to do this? When are you going to do this? Kind of a thing. So if I am Verizon, my sentiment analysis would be to look at how many people are talking negatively about me on Twitter, how many people are talking positively about me on Twitter, how many people are talking neutrally about me on Twitter. And then many brands actually do this on a daily basis and then put it up as a weekly dashboard to see how are they trending up, trending down based on the things they do. So if there is a big brand which has got into a huge scandal, sentiment analysis is which is going to help them to really figure out what people are talking about them. If they launched a ad campaign which is very controversial, then if they do a sentiment analysis, then they know that too many people are unhappy about the ad campaign. So that's the last part of it. Now I'm going to go into probably some of the social tools and talk about how you can, do all of the things which we were talking about, right? But before that, one of my other favorite graphics, again, right? So anytime I speak to somebody about social media analytics, one of the questions that come up is, how do I start? Like, where do I start? Should I start with sentiment analysis? Should I start with reach and engagement? Where do I start, right? So you want to start with the audience profile first. First, you want to do a deep dive there. Then you want to start monitoring your audience size. How is it growing month over month, year over year, quarter over quarter, that kind of stuff. Then you want to start looking at your content analysis and start thinking about when are my audience really excited, or what kind of content really excites my audience. So that's what you want to spend your time on. Then you want to start thinking about competitor analysis, right? So you want to start thinking about what is my competition doing, what are some of the what kind of content is working for them, what kind of content followers do they have, how is their follower growth compared to mine, those kind of stuff. Then you want to start thinking about sentiment analysis and consistently do that. And then finally, you want to think about traffic, reach, and engagement, and all of that. So now I want to take a break. Before I dive into this, if you have any questions, probably this is a good time to ask me. Somebody is asking, Rose is asking me about the expert at Google. I'm actually going to put it in the chat for you guys. His name is Avinash Kaushik, Avinash. Could you post the link at the top of the analytics expert? Yes, I will do that once I finish. I am still figuring out how to type my comment here. This is my first time using this.
Don't worry, Maha. What we'll do is when we do the Q&A afterwards, I'll give you time to type that up while we're talking.
Okay, perfect. So
you can put it in the private chat. We can put it there. Otherwise, we'll figure it out. We'll share it with everyone.
Perfect. So Rose, in another 10-15 minutes, I'll give you the name and also his Twitter handle so that you can start following him on Twitter as well.
What was his last name? Avinash what?
Kaushik.
Okay. So yeah. So 1 second. Let me just give it to people. It's just at Avinash. He's just at Avinash. I've just started following him. Avinash. Avinash.
Thank you. So now I'm going to jump into some tools which you can use. My goal is to make sure that you are probably spending 1 hour with me, and I want to make sure that you're getting something very, very tangible of how can I go use this to probably analyze my social profile or analyze my business's social profile and so on and so forth. There are probably hundreds and hundreds of tools. I was actually trying to get a picture of the social media analytics tool landscape because I'm so sure there are probably tens and thousands of tools which are available. But I would say a good place to start is with some of the native tools which are available for your disposal, completely free of cost within the profile itself. So don't fret too much. Start with, if you have a business page on Facebook, you should have access to Facebook Insights, right? So you should start with Facebook Insights as the first step. Twitter gives you an analytics option for whether it's a personal profile or a business profile. So if you are on Twitter, then you start wanting to look, you might want to spend some time looking at what kind of audience is following you, what are the topics they're talking about. I'll actually show you how to do that. That's the second step. So if you have an Instagram page, but it has to be a business page, Instagram Analytics is available completely free of cost for you to go do this. Same with Pinterest and LinkedIn as well, right? So this is a very, very good place to start, and we're really diving deep and looking at what kind of numbers are there before you even spend any money on any of the tools or time on any of the free tools which are available. So I'm going to first get into Facebook Insights and show you how it looks like and what are the things you can look at there. I'm going to share my screen here for the Facebook Insights. Just give me 1 second. Can you guys give me a thumbs up saying that, oh, I can see it, so you can see it? Okay, good. Great. So this is Facebook Insights. So if you have a business page on Facebook, this should be completely free for you and available. This is one of my friend's business page. I cannot share any of the brands I currently work with because of the NDA, but this is one of my friend's business page. She is a film producer and in India, so she has a production house, and she also is a art curator. So she has a gallery where she sells art. So this is her page here. So I kind of help her out with this. So I am here. I can go here and click on Insights, which is available here. And if I click on Insights, I will get to this screen, right? And it'll start showing you. So the first thing you want to do is set the calendar for whatever timeline you're looking at. So let's say you're looking at last 28 days. What are the actions you did on the specific page? So that's the first thing that comes up. She has not been very active with the page, so there are not much of the actions which she has done. But then what it shows is page views, right? So in the last 28 days, how many people actually came and looked at your page and spent some time on your page? So that's what it's going to look at. And it's also going to tell you that, how much percentage has it improved from the previous time. So that's the second thing. The third thing it shows is page previews, right? So difference between a page view and a page preview is these people did not spend the complete they did not come to the page and look at it, but they just looked at the short about section which you have written there. So they just looked at the preview. So that's what this shows. How many likes did you get, right, in the last 28 days? Then you can also start looking at it based on whether the like came from organic or from paid promotion. So let's say you're a small business and spending money on Facebook, then you can exactly see whether the likes came organically or because you spent some money, right? So that's the page likes. Post reach, this is what I talked to you about. How many people did your post reach to, and what's the percentage increase on that, right? If you're doing stories, then you can track stories separately on Facebook right now with that. Then it's going to give you some recommendations. So the recommendations it usually gives is on things like what's the best time to post your actual post on Facebook. So the insight is going to tell you that your audience are probably available on Tuesday from 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock in the evening, and they're very active on your page. So you want to post your content during that time. And then other things like what kind of post works. So whether the videos worked, whether the images worked, and so on and so forth. So that kind of recommendations is available for you. Then you can also look at post engagement. So let's say you want to compare, you've done 10 posts this month and you want to know which are the posts really worked for you. You can look at the engagement of those specific posts and see which one performed better, so that you can start doing more and more posts of that kind. That's the biggest necessity for us, right? Because we are putting out so much content daily, we don't know what's working. So if you know what's working, then you can keep doing the same thing again and again so that it'll work better for you. Then it'll specifically tell you if you put up videos, how many video views you had, how much time people spend watching the video, and so on and so forth. And it's going to tell you how many page followers you had during that time as well. My favorite thing in this one actually is this section and the next section, right? So this is looking at it, like I said, individual post wise. So you can click on a specific post and see how did that perform. So how many people did it reach? Did it reach organically or through paid? What kind of engagement did I have? And then you can start thinking that, okay, this post is doing very well organically. Probably if I pay a little bit of money, then I can reach more people. So you can select only this post and say that I want to boost this post, right? Which means that Facebook will actually boost this post for through paid advertising. So you can really know which one is performing and then decide to boost it, instead of just doing this in a dark, right? You don't know what's working, but then you decide to pay money for something which bombs again, and then it becomes a waste of money. The last one is a very, very interesting one. So this one is, you can add pages of your competition. So let's say I want to start tracking one of my competitors. So I teach at NYU. So I want to start figuring out how Columbia is doing with their Facebook page, probably. I can actually do Columbia University. And I can say, I want to watch this page, right? So I will start watching this page where I can see that how many likes did they have? How did they grow from last week? How many posts are they doing? What kind of engagement are they getting? So this is extremely powerful. And think about it. And this is completely free. You don't have to spend any money to do this. All you need is a business page on Facebook for you to actually do this, right? So now I know Columbia is doing about 12 posts a week. So if I am the person handling the social media for NYU, then my thinking should be, oh, if they are doing 12 posts, probably I should do X amount of posts for me to be relevant there, or to make myself heard, to have a good amount of share of voice and all of that. So like I said, you have to go to Facebook, look at your page, and then go to Insights, and all of this is available, right? Completely free for you. You can also export this data and completely use it like a PDF for an Excel to do more calculations, and so on and so forth. The second thing which we're going to look at right now is the Twitter analytics as well. So I'm going to go ahead and share that here for a quick second.
Folks, while you're waiting, don't forget to tweet Maha, and also she's Mahalakshmi_81 on Twitter, and also to use the hashtag SMWeekend. And we're just so grateful to her for sharing all this with us. So Maha, just want to do a time check also. It's almost 6. So if you have another 15 minutes or so or less. Roughly.
Yeah, I think so. I have next slide, which is very important. I want to share that slide.
Yeah, no, take your time. I just wanted to give you a time check. That's all. Okay?
Sure. Thank you. Again, Twitter is, I'm not going to spend too much time here because, like I said, it's free for you. You can go and spend some time over the weekend, try playing around with it. If you have a Twitter profile, all you have to do is click here, go to the analytics tab, and then you have all your analytics, right? So you can see which tweet worked for you, how many impressions you got, how many profile visits, how many mentions, everything is available for you here. So this is also completely free from Twitter. All that you'll have to do is go dive deep and see how does it look like, right? Now, I'm actually very excited to share some of the free tools that are available. So let's go here. I'm going to share some of the free tools from here. So the first tool I'm going to share with you guys is a tool called SparkToro. So this tool is created by one of the thought leaders in the search industry or SEO industry specifically. He is a gentleman named Rand Fishkin. He is one of the biggest thought leaders in SEO. If you know a tool called Moz Analytics, an SEO tool, then he was the founder of that tool. Then he finished that, and then he quit from that company, and then now he has come up with this exciting tool called SparkToro. We talked a lot about how it is very, very important to know what kind of audience you have, right? You want to do audience intelligence. You want to know what does your audience, where is your audience present? So especially if you're a small business, the money is very limited for you, right? So you want to make sure that you are spending that money in the right place, or you're doing the right kind of tie-ups, you are doing the right kind of reach out to people when you are a very, very small business, or even if you're a personal brand. Think about it. If you are looking for a specific audience and thinking about attracting that specific audience, then you want to know where they are, what kind of podcast they listen to, what kind of websites they go to, right? So that's going to be a powerful information for you to really use, for you to figure out how you want to plan your media, marketing, reach out, whatever that is, right? So great thing, this tool is got a free sign up with 5 searches completely free. So you can go sign up, do completely free 5 searches, and then decide whether you want to probably subscribe to the tool, whatever that is, right? So this is where it starts. So I am going to think about what kind of audience am I looking at. So there are various ways to think about it. You can think, okay, I want to think of my audiences as, what does my audience frequently talk about, or what are the kind of words they use in their profile, right? So I actually used that one, and I said that I want to look for uh, people who are probably using in their profile public relations, right? So those are the people I want to reach to. Then I click search here. That's it. And then it starts computing. Of course, the audience size is very large. They have a moderately diverse behavior,
Sorry,
right?
one
And
second. Are
they're
you
extremely
sharing? One
confident.
second. Sorry, are we sharing your screen? We can't see it.
Oh, okay. I
Sorry.
thought no, my apologies. I thought I did. Okay. Now can you see it, Shri?
Now we can. Now we can. Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Very sorry.
Yeah.
So from the beginning, SparkToro is the tool, right? So you can try to do a lot of things with it, but the biggest thing it can help you out with is audience intelligence, right? You want to know about your audience. You want to know what kind of podcast they listen to. Do you want to know what kind of Twitter profiles they follow? You want to know what kind of websites they go to get their information. Everything is possible here, right? So you can do it in a couple of ways. One is you can say that I'm going to, my audience frequently talks about a specific topic, right? So, and then I can search on it. The second option is I can say that they use the following words in their profile, right? Or follows a specific social media account, or they frequently visit a website, or frequently use the hashtag, and so on and so forth. In this case, I'm saying that I want to look for my audience who have the word public relations in their profile. So let's say I am a small business, or I'm doing an event specifically targeted at public relations people. Then I can do a search here, and it starts computing the data, and then this is what you get. So it clearly tells you how big the audience size is. It also tells you whether their behavior is similar or very diverse, and how confident is your audience in their social media and way they talk about. What are all the social media accounts they follow? They follow PR News, PR Daily. So let's say you are thinking about an event and you want to probably reach out for a guest blogging opportunity. You might want to reach out to PR Daily and say, hey, can I do a guest blogging in your publication, so that my audience is actually going to have an opportunity to see that, right? It also gives you something called hidden gem social accounts, right? We always get caught up with the big names. So PR Daily might be too big for us to go approach, but then there are these hidden social accounts they are following. So if you're not able to get a probably favorable response from PR Daily, you can go ask the Strategies and Tactics, which is a social account, and ask them for a tie-up. Probably they can share your event and say that, hey, such and such an event is happening, go and participate. Or they can actually say, talk about the recent video you have done, or they can talk about your specific product which you have created for PR people, right? It also tells you what kind of websites they go to. So if you're thinking about advertising and you have a limited budget, then you can say that, okay, these are the websites where they are, and I would want to advertise probably only in these websites, kind of a thing. It again gives you some of the smaller websites which you can approach to as well. I love the fact that they're tracking the podcasts which they listen to, because podcasts are becoming very, very big. And if you are looking at association or opportunity to work in a podcast, then you know what kind of podcast they are listening to and probably get an opportunity to be a part of that one, right? What kind of YouTube channels are they following? So if you're specifically thinking about advertising on YouTube, all kind of audience insights, right? So it talks about where they are, what's happening, etc. So this is, like I said, it's completely free for at least I think 5 searches if you want to do. So you can go ahead and try out the tool. I love the tool, and to be very, very honest, I have actually made some media buying decisions in my job based on the audience insights I get from here. Okay, these people are actually going to these websites, so probably I should invest money in this particular website, kind of an opportunity. So the another thing you can also use this for is to do some competitor analysis. So let's say you want to know about a specific audience who frequently visit your competition's website. So whatever the competition's website is, again, I'm going to take probably Colombia here. What kind of people frequently visit Colombia? So I can search that and actually get data on that. So if you are a small business who's looking to understand, who are the kind, what does your or what does the audience of your competition look like, then this is the way I would run the search and look at it here. So SparkToro is my #1 tool for today, and I think that this is a great tool to do audience intelligence. So that's my #1. I'm going to go to my #2 tool now, and I'm going to share my screen again for that. So, and hopefully I do it this time correctly and not leave you guys in the dark. So my number two tool for the evening today is a tool called Follower Wonk, right? So this is a Twitter specific tool, and I love this tool because if you are a Twitter person, then and if you spend a lot of time on Twitter, then this is the tool you want to go to and figure out everything about what kind of followers you have, or what kind of things are they doing, everything. So let me get to it. So you can search bios here. So you can probably search for a bio. I actually searched for Sri when I was trying to set this up. So you will get all the Sris possible who are there. He's topping it up there in #2. And then it'll tell you whether you're already following them, whether you're already not following them, what state you are in, and whatever, right? The second thing you can do is also search the Twitter bios only. So if you are searching for a specific word in the Twitter bio, right, then you would get all the people who are calling themselves a journalist on the Twitter bio. So then you can look at who you are already following, who you're not following, and so on and so forth, and make decisions for your business or for yourself on that. So the second one is compare users, right? So let's say you want to compare 2 different uh, Twitter profiles. So a good idea or a use case for this would be, let's say you're thinking about reaching out to 2 influencers and see who will probably have better engagement, who has a better following, and so on and so forth. If you want to compare that, then you can actually compare what kind of users both of them have. So I am actually going to, for fun here, compare Shri and Rupa here. Shri, I hope you're okay with that. I'm taking silence as a yes. So when I compared Shri and Rupa, it's Rupa Online, right? Okay, it's actually pulling up a different Rupa. I am not sure why. So probably I can do it to myself. Let's see. Okay, so it gives you things like what's the social authority. Obviously, Shri's social authority is much, much higher than mine. So this will give you an idea about if you're thinking about reaching out to the influencer for association, a tie-up or something like that. Who is the influencer you should be thinking about, who you should be working with, and so on and so forth. So it gives you details like for how long they've been on Twitter, how many followers they have, what's their retweet percentage look like, everything you can think about, right? What's their average followers per day? So this is a good thing if you are thinking about, okay, this person or the other person and what kind of followers they have and so on and so forth. And you can also get into things like, uh, who are the people who, what's the like the people who are followed by both of them. Shri and I, both of us are following all these people together, right? So what's our intersection percentage look like? So that's a very interesting thing to look at as well. So that's the second thing which you can do with follower wonk. The third thing you can do is analyze, right? So let's say you want to look at, you want to analyze the kind of followers that Shri has, right? So I'm going to analyze his followers. So it's going to say it's in the reports. I already did this, so I should be able to. So this is analysis of Shri's profile, right? So it's first showing you from where all he has got followers. So he has got followers across the globe, literally, starting from New Zealand to probably here in Canada, like end to end everywhere. Then it's going to tell you what time are what time zone are they active. So this helps you decide when you should be tweeting, right? So if your audience is available on a specific time zone, then you want to pick up that time and do it. What time is perfect for Shri, right? So that's what this is telling you, like. And then what kind of words do people have in their bio who are following Shri? So they have digital, obvious, media, obvious, journalists. So these are the two big things,
I heard you were talking about me, so I came in to just listen. So yeah, this is pretty cool. I've not seen this before. That's really
I hope that's
helpful.
okay. I'm analyzing your profile, so I hope that's okay.
But it's very helpful. Thank you. I can see the value of knowing this about your. So if you can just go back to that, yeah, that just above a little bit. So editor, media author. So this says I'm following the people that I care about. This is right. If it was full of cookies and bakeries and all of that, then bad for my that says it's good for my interest in cookies, but that's not what I'm following as an interest in this, right?
It's actually the other way around. So yeah, so BioWord cloud of users who follow you are like, and then if this is what you're talking about, so then exactly, Shri,
No,
you're
this
right.
is users, 3 follows. These are people I
Exactly.
follow.
Exactly.
Yeah, so this is good. This is good that I'm following the people. It's on my own brand. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And what's the social authority of the people who Shri follows, right? So where do they come in? So this is a calculation which follower wonk does it themselves. So it's not accurate, but yes.
Directionally, it's interesting. That's what I
exactly.
tell you. Yeah.
Exactly. And what's the gender? So that's only for subscribers.
And I like
yes.
the word inferred. A lot of people just show it to you. They don't know. Most people don't tell you if you're a male.
Tell you their gender.
So
Yeah.
yeah. Sorry, please continue.
Absolutely. Follower count of those people, right? So, what kind of followers do they have? So Shri has about 141 people who he's following who have 1 million and more followers and so on and so forth. So this is a very cool tool. I love this tool. I always kind of use it when we are trying to specifically for brands think about doing partnerships, right? So if I'm planning to reach out to a journalist to tweet about our brand, or if I'm reaching out to a thought leader in the industry to share our article or something like that, then I want to make sure that I really understand how his or her profile looks like before we actually do that partnership. So it's super helpful to really look at that. You can analyze their followers as well. So again, if you do this and do the same thing, you will be able to analyze your specific followers as well. So for that, you'll have to subscribe. So because he has too many people following him, so it's not free. It's only free till 25,000 people. So I can probably do it for myself and show you. Again, where are my followers predominantly from, right? They're from India, they're from the US and whatnot. So similarly, you get all of the information which we talked about. So these are my following these kind of profiles as well. So I don't want to spend too much time again going through this. You can track your followers here, but this is only for the subscribed account. So you might want to play around with it and then see. They give you an example of how is their follower wonk profile doing. So you can take a free ride with it and then decide whether you want to use this, right? So this is my tool number 2 for the day. Tool number 3 for the day is going to be, one second.
So folks, I hope you're following Mahalakshmi_81 and also tweeting out SM Weekend. I see some great tweets going out. Thank you. And Maha, we just want to again look at the time. You can keep going, no problem. But just wanted you to just note the time.
Sure. I'm not going to spend time. Like I said, I think I don't want to take everybody's Friday evening all for this. So please feel free to go check out the tools. The third tool which I'm going to talk about today is a tool called BuzzSumo. This tool is going to help you plan your content, right? Anything you want to do with your content, if you're specifically in the business of writing content, either for your business or for your blog page, this is an amazing tool to really know. So you can do a lot of things. You can actually look at what are all the big topics which are trending. And, based on that, you can start writing about that. The coolest thing I like is generating content ideas, right? So let's say you have a topic in mind. Let's say I want to tomorrow write an article about social media analytics, right? So I will go here and say, I want to write about social media analytics. And then search. It'll tell me what are all the big things which people are talking about as a word cloud in social media marketing. So if I really want to write about social media marketing, I should be probably talking about viral growth and analytics, or social media monitoring and support, or Twitter analytics and viral marketing. So those are the big things which people are talking about. So if you are thinking about topic ideas of, hey, I am thinking about writing about this, but I don't know what I should spend my time on, then this is a great tool to really think about it. So it also gives you subject lines, right? So it gives you subject lines like what kind of content ideas you can think about, how to reach millennials through social media and influencer marketing. So it's come up in Viral Nation. So that's an idea for you. So you can probably write something similar to that. So this is a great tool to think about, what kind of content you want to do, what kind of keywords you want to use. So that's another thing you can really hone in on and see. So in social media analytics, what kind of keywords are really hot right now, kind of a thing. So what's the volume for that keyword. So basically, how does this help is, if you really do a good job of keyword analysis, then it'll give you a good position in the organic search or your SEO side of it. So you can make sure that you're using the right keywords in your article, so that your article will not have to be paid for, but organically it will show up in Google and you can get the maximum reach which you want to reach and all of that. So it'll give you keyword ideas, it'll give you questions, what people are asking, right? Find the most popular questions on it. So if you know this, then you can probably start honing in on, okay, this is the question, so probably I can try and answer this question for people, right? So those are the content ideas you can really work on. Then what you can think about is influences again, right? So if you are thinking about social media analytics, who are the influences you should be trying to reach out to, who you should be working with? So these are all the people you should be trying to work with. It also tells you about how big they are, how many Twitter followers they have, what's their average retweet rate looks like, etc. So again, if you're thinking about partnerships and associations and collaborations, this is a great tool to really do that, right? So that's another thing you might want to do. It also gives you evaluate content ideas for yourselves, right? So you can monitor your content, monitor your brand as well in this. So this is something which I had set up quite some time back for NYU. So you can start thinking about how many web mentions NYU is getting, right? So how many times it's mentioned in a day, what kind of mentions is NYU coming up in, is it good, is it bad? So those kind of stuff. So again, BuzzSumo is the third tool for the day, and it's an amazing tool. Go check it out, go try, play around with it. It's got a free version, so you can play around with it for 30 days and then cancel it if you don't like it. So that's BuzzSumo. The fourth tool and the final tool for the day is going to be
expanding right now in Texas. We're going statewide in Ohio. And in addition to that, we're launching a news app. And so we're building out our digital journalism.
It's called Hootsuite. Probably a lot of you already know Hootsuite. Hootsuite is also a tool which is scheduling tool. You can schedule your tweets, you can manage your social profiles through this. So you can actually set up the tweets for the next 1 week and it'll automatically go at the time you want it to go, and so on and so forth. Again, this tool is completely free for 30 days, whether it's your business or it's your personal account, right? So you can completely go check it out. So it's a complete social media dashboard you get through this tool, right? So we talked about various things. So this completely gives you a dashboard of, okay, so this is my profile. Uh, you can do this only if you have the rights to that profile. So you need to put in your password and connect your Twitter. So that's what I did. So I could do it only for my personal profile here. So I did about 7 tweets in the last 12 days. I have 169 followers. My engagement was 8. And then this is how my tweets, like, I tweet 4 today, then 1 the next day, etc. When did my followers peak specifically? What kind of engagement am I getting? Likes, retweets, replies, and so on and so forth. Traffic to the website. We talked about how is it actually converting back to business, right? So if you use a Hootsuite for your business, then it'll exactly tell you how many people clicked on the tweet and then went to your website as well. So it's a great thing to know as well. So how many inbound messages did I get? So how many people actually sent me a DM on my Twitter, right? And how did the inbound messages look like? Were they neutral? Were they negative? Were they positive? How did that look like, right? Then it'll give you an analysis of every single tweet you put out there. So it's a complete dashboard which you can look at for your Twitter, for your Facebook here, again, completely all in one place. Similar things which we looked at in Facebook Insights, but in one place here available for you. and LinkedIn business page. So if you are looking at a LinkedIn business page, I couldn't connect it here because I have to connect my company's business page, and that's not possible. So you can do that here and look at it. So these are the 4 tools which I wanted to share with you guys today. Please feel free to go play around with the tools. And let me know, what did you think about it? So I'm going to stop here and stop sharing here. And that's my session for the day, guys.
Yay. Now let's get some questions in before people have to go. It's almost 6:30. That was amazing.
I'm sorry that I took extra time.
Oh, please don't apologize. Please don't apologize. There's so much material you shared, such great insights. People can watch the recording. People can learn much more by going through all this. So first, let's remind people where they can find you. They can find you on Twitter, Mahalakshmi_81, and also find you on LinkedIn. And so let's get, if there are any questions here. Damakant says, thanks a ton, Maha. Linda's saying, I have this crazy grandfathered in price for Hootsuite. I don't use it, but it's too cheap to cancel. That's funny. Linda, that's like you could now rent out that Hootsuite account for other people.
I know.
I'm kidding.
Yeah. That's a business idea.
There you go. Julia says, thank you. Great session. Anyone have a specific question? Or Linda, do you have a specific question? I have one for Maha. A lot of us are doing analytics without realizing it. We think it's it's too complicated. I think what you've shown us is this: to start simple, just track some of the things, and become a student of your own social media is what I tell people. And you've shown us how to do that. But my question is, when do you know that it's worth, that you're showing success? How do you know on a particular channel or anything? So for example, let me just tell everybody, I wanted to tell everyone anyway, our friend Dr. Sujana Chandrasekhar, who's with us, who is watching as well, she is launching a new show called She's on Call, and that launches on Sunday. And she and Marina Korean are doing this together, and our team at Digimentors is producing the show, and we're very excited. And we're just building. We have so few followers, but how do we think about success? How do we know if we're successful on Facebook, Twitter? Give us some parameters that we can use to go from here. And everyone, please follow She's on Call, at She's on Call. There's going to be female doctors on TV interviewing doctors and others about general health topics. And we are just very excited to be part of this show as behind the scenes, putting all this together. Julia Weeks is one of the producers, and many other folks involved in this, Rose Horowitz and others as well. Go ahead, Maha.
Absolutely. So this is a great example, right? You are starting a completely new show, and you are trying to build a community who will start watching the show, who will follow the show, who will talk about the show. So the first step, I would say, again, is start thinking about growing your audience and making your brand aware, right? So that's the first step here. So you will figure out success by continuously probably promoting the fact that, hey, start subscribing for the YouTube channel, or start following us on Facebook so that you can watch us live on Facebook Live, or start following us on Twitter so that you could watch the videos. And then over a period of time, you will be able to actually start measuring the follower and the subscriber growth increasing. So you can set up simple goals, right? So you can say that this is starting on June 14th. So in the first month, we want to get 5,000 followers in YouTube, 5,000 subscribers.
That's a lot. I should just say that's a lot. So I don't want to promise that's a lot of people, right?
Yep, I'm just giving a number. So yeah, you could say that it's 500 subscribers on YouTube.
I think
right?
that's more reasonable. I'm just going to say that our friend Neil Parekh is here. You all remember him from our social media weekend. He produced. He did all the technology for the production team. It was fantastic. But Linda and I have a workshop that we're giving right now, so we're going to jump off, and Neil's going to take over from here. Maha, I'm so grateful to you. We have to make sure that we get together well before September if we're allowed to. Thank you very much, Linda. Let's say goodbye.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, Shri.
Thank you. Neil's going to take over from here. Thank you,
Neil. Bye, Maha.
Thanks, everybody, for watching. We're going to do one more big session like this, and then we're going to meet whenever we can at Muckrack in the fall or early spring, whenever large gatherings are allowed again. Bye-bye, everybody. And please join group office hours. Bye.
Bye.
So thanks again, Maha, for a great show. We're going to say bye to Shri and Linda. I know you've been presenting for a while, and I saw you did take a break earlier, so I'm glad that you were able to get a second win. But let's continue wrapping up. And you were talking about She's on Call and the whole idea of being able to start a community. One of the things I think is great, it's always great in terms of branding, not just in terms of being able to do the analytics afterward. You clearly need a hashtag, and some people don't always realize that you need to be able to set yourself up for success. But the other thing is that just in terms of the consistency, being able to get She's on Call across Facebook, Twitter, Instagram,
Right.
And YouTube, of course. Once they get subscribers, you can customize that. What are some of the other things they should be thinking about as they start this venture?
So like I said, I would say that sometimes if you're starting small, in the case of She's on Call, I think they've got a great people who are social media wizards, like Shri at the back working, right? So it's much more easier. But if you are doing this for your own business, I would say that please don't start off in all the 4 channels. Probably start it out with one. Establish your YouTube presence, establish your Facebook presence before you really think about, okay, I want to be here, I want to be here, and I want to be there as well. So I think that pacing yourself is also very important, and it gives you a chance to figure out one specific channel, test it out and see before you can actually launch the other channels. But the second thing I would say is also about, Shri was asking, right? So what does success look like, right? So let's say after a month, after 2 months, what does success look like? So that's something which you will have to define for your own self. So in my case, I could say that I want to get 10 followers by next month on Twitter, right? So that could be a small goal which I could set for myself and work towards it. And then then my second goal could be, no, now that I have 100 followers on Twitter, probably what I want to do is I want to get better engagement. So I want to start thinking about more people liking my tweet, more people commenting or replying on my tweet. Once that happens, then I might say that this month, I want to tweet something really interesting so that 3 people actually share my tweet, right? So it depends upon where you start from, and the goals will obviously be based on where you are starting from. So in the case of a business, it could be that I want to make sure that we get 10% more followers next month, or more engagement by 27%, or things like that. But you have to plan it based on how your brand is, where it is.
And Rose is commenting that they were able to get She's on Call, as I mentioned, across platforms. One question, just as a follow-up to that, if you are able to get the same account across platforms, should you register them and just park them and not use, say, the Twitter and the Instagram handles and focus on Facebook, so that you can at least own the name?
That's a good idea always. It's like, I think that, especially I would even say, go ahead and just buy a domain if the domain is available, right? So you don't want somebody else to buy it, and then you having to pay money to get that domain from them. So it's always good to kind of get the handles and keep it. But I also, it depends on the kind of people you have working with. If you have a team working for you, then it might be easy for you to launch 3 channels right away. But if you're planning to do it all by yourself, then you might want to think about, okay, probably I'll start with Facebook because that's where my major part of the audience is. So I will launch that one first.
Sure. Great. So seeing, Mark Lee was adding that it was a great job, and Sujana, of course, Dr. Sujana Chandrasekhar had a big smile because we're talking about her our program. Again, it's premiering at 11 o'clock on Sunday morning, right after the New York Times read-along. So we're going to have Dr. Sujana and Dr. Marina on the show this Sunday. Keep an eye out. The post will go out as soon as possible after this session is over. I have them teed up and ready to go. So please share them and make sure that you tune in on Sunday morning. So with that, are there any closing thoughts or anything else you'd like to share with the audience, Maha?
Like I said, thank you so much for spending your Friday evening with me, guys. I had so much pleasure. This is one of my favorite topics. I can talk analytics and data for hours. I geek out on that. So it was a pleasure sharing some of the thoughts with you. Go check out the tools. Most of them are free. Play around with it, and let me know on Twitter if you liked it, didn't like it. I'm happy to chat with you on Twitter. And Neil, Shri, Linda, thank you so much for the opportunity. You guys are an amazing team, and it's a pleasure collaborating with you all the time.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, and thank you to everyone joining us for this session of the Social Media Weekend, our extended learning. As Shri mentioned, we'll have one more show like this before we finish the series. And I want to thank you all for your support, and you make sure you continue to engage with us across office hours, these extended learnings, in Facebook, etc. So thank you, and we will see you soon.
Thank you so much, guys. Bye.